Casey Kasem. After 4 in the afternoon at Z95.5 Saturday morning, May 7th, and Casey Kasem has joined us. Hello, Case.
Dick, how you doing? I haven't slept for 2 days, so I can't account for anything I say or do on this show today.
You never have when you've been on this show. Last time, you're on with Gene, your wife, Gene.
That's right. Gene sends her love to you and to Jim and the whole crew here.
That's nice. Jim Oakes, that's right.
That's right.
Sort of our...
Sure, my sound-alike.
That's right.
My clone.
And your driver. Didn't he just go to pick you up at the hotel?
That's right. He went to pick me up. Yeah, we had a great conversation, all one-sided, all the way here. Hi, Casey. Hi, Jim. All right.
Dill and Casey's again.
I said, this is the number 1 street we turn on. Going down 2 notches to number 3.
I got to tell you. Casey, how come you haven't slept in 2 days? What's going on?
Let's see. We're working on a fundraiser for Jesse Jackson out there, and we've been on the phones for, I must have made 500 phone calls with my wife and I and a couple others at the house, and we want to do as well there as you guys did for him here.
Yeah, well, Michigan was his big state.
Oh, tell me about it. I couldn't have been more proud.
I didn't know you were involved in this campaign.
Oh, gosh, I was involved 4 years ago. We gave the biggest fundraiser we had at our home.
Is that right?
A private fundraiser, and we want to try and top that this time.
Is that right?
Yeah,
okay.
He married us 8 years ago. Yeah.
Jesse, the Reverend Jesse Jackson married you and Gene?
My wife and I,
I didn't realize
married by Jesse 8 years ago.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, son of a gun.
And you know how popular the Jacksons are in the Rocky Mountain. We've got Michael,
Reggie and Jesse. That's right, exactly. Yeah, right. Case, why don't you do some record for us here?
This is one of my favorite records.
You know the one?
One of my favorite records.
I mean, here's a guy who defines soul. I mean, he is Mr. Soul, and they call him the genius, and here he is with the Raylettes. I'm talking about Mr. Ray himself, Ray Charles, and Hit the Road, Jack.
Hit the Road, Jack.
That's right, 1961.
I think that was the year.
Charles,
that's right, yeah.
60. Where were you in 61?
I was in Cincinnati at WSAI.
61. I was just heading out to the West Coast to do a wild show. In those days, I did a funny show. I did Wild Tracks.
Oh, did you?
And, and wrote a show every day, drove one engineer to drinking, the other one to smoking heavily.
That's right.
Because I had to hand him a script every day.
My engineer does both. That's Ankles, Casey. You've met before.
Oh, yeah.
Now, okay,
buy me a beer.
That brings up the subject of Casey Kasem and where you were back in those days. You were at, I think, WJLB and WJBK.
That's right. I started out, of course, on WXYZ on the Lone Ranger show as a radio actor in 1950.
Okay.
That was my first big break, and then in 1954, when I came back from the Army, I did some more of those Ranger shows and Sergeant Preston, and was lucky enough to get an announcer's job at WJLB, and worked with Frantic Ernie Durham, ran his records for him, and did a nighttime show called Morning Madness, and then I moved over to WJBK as a newsman, and I was doing for. Clark Reed was on the station then. I'm trying
Don McLeod?
Don McLeod, who was my mentor, and Don wanted me to stay there as a newsman. And
Don's daughter, by the way, Casey, calls me every now and then. She listens to us in the morning here, and her dad died, I think, about 4 years ago. I think it was.
I didn't know that. I'm sorry to hear that. He was a great disc jockey, and he was smart enough to know to give me enough leash so that when I made mistakes, instead of pouncing on me and saying, Casey, don't say those things, it was 6 months after I was on the air. He came up to me one day and he said, Casey, he says, look, he says, you've been sounding like me for 6 months now. He says, if you want to really make it on your own, you've got to really develop your own style.
That's right.
But he was nice enough not to destroy me in the first couple of weeks.
Sure.
And I always thank him for that.
One, let's say, disc jockey in this case is plagiarism, but copying from Six is research.
That's right.
So, nobody can pin you down on anything.
Dick, you're absolutely right. I borrowed. You know who I borrowed from originally? Going way
Yes,
back.
I do know. You told me this the last time you were here.
Okay.
Is it Arthur Godfrey?
No, not Arthur Godfrey. A baseball announcer in Detroit. And a former championship batter from 1918 to 1919, Harry Heilman.
Oh, Harry Heilman. Yeah,
Harry Heilman told the greatest stories on radio when the Tigers were playing, and he could tell them over and over again, year after year, and that never left my mind. So when I got into radio, I said, I want to tell stories like Harry Heilman.
Is that right?
Yeah,
that's what all happened. Huh?
Yeah,
that's why we have the long-distance dedications.
That's right.
We just got him a letter in our story in letter form. Huh?
Right. Well, radio does it best. It tells stories, and you can make anything as big as you want or as small as you want in radio.
Yeah, that's right. And Casey has just signed a terrific new contract. I want to talk to you about this in just a few minutes. Okay, from Z95.5. It's 4:40 in the afternoon. In case you can do the honors of the next song.
Oh, family and show business. They've been around, I think, longer than any other family act in show business, if not any act. We're talking about Gladys Knight and the Pips, and here they are with one of their great, great songs. This is from 1974, hit number 3.
I think this is recorded in Pine Knob. I think it was. I think
Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
What's the title?
Best thing that ever happened?
Thank you.
In 21 years on the Hot 100 charts, Gladys Knight and the Pips with one of 8 top 10 smashes in the rock era. But you're the best thing that ever happened to me. On C95.5, this is Casey.
I can't tell if it really is or not. I'm looking in the opposite direction. Is that really you, Casey?
That's me. You know, I have a tendency to exaggerate slightly when I hear him do it.
Do you?
Because, but you know what happens every now and then, I'll catch myself and I'll say, I do sound like Jim.
Yeah.
You know?
You know, it's funny, Casey. Somebody called me a month or so ago, and they said they heard you being interviewed in Los Angeles on a radio station there, and you were talking about guys around the country who do your voice, your impression and stuff. And the guy, anyway, told me, I don't know if it's true or not, that you said, but the best one that does it is in Detroit.
That's no question about it.
Is
He's
that
the
right?
best, yes.
Well, that's right. It's too bad it's not Jim.
You know, there's several people do it on TV. Dana Carvey does it.
That's
on,
right.
On Saturday Night Live.
Sure.
Harry Shearer does
it all the time.
He does a bad one.
Shearer, he could do a better one if he'd work at it a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I do it every day.
Yeah, he does.
Sometimes I even wear a cardigan sweater.
That's right. And his friend Claudia doesn't know who she's dating anymore. All right, back with Casey Kasem on Z95.5 on our 7-hour Detroit radio rock jock. Oh, good afternoon. It's 4:29.
Hours now I waited here. Thanks for the memories, and you guys are doing a great job.
Oh, well, thank you. It's nice.
Listen, I was just wondering if you could do a favor to a friend of ours, Miss Martha's 80 years of age, and she would like to hear The Americans by Byron McGregor, and we were hoping we could hear some of you people there.
I don't know if we have that. Case, do we have that around?
I don't have it with you.
Don't have the Americans by Byron McGregor. Byron was on the air live earlier. We had him.
Guys, hi, and
Maybe you could do it over the phone for us. I don't know. We'll see.
yeah, well, great, and thanks again, and Dick, you're doing a great job.
Well,
we love
you.
your team, too.
Thanks, Mom. Happy Mother's Day.
Thanks again.
So long. Bye-bye. Casey just signed a new contract. Casey Kasem did with Westwood One, which is the outfit that owns NBC these days. Very large organization.
And Mutual as well.
And the Mutual Radio
Right.
Network as well. That's right, yeah. And you are going to syndicate your American Top 40, or whatever you will call it, on a new bunch of stations starting
in January. I'm not sure, how many new stations there'll be. Some of them will be the same stations, I'm sure. But it's not to say that I haven't enjoyed my relationship and continue to enjoy my relationship with ABC. I have, and the people that I work with, will always be personal friends of mine,
Sure.
whether we work together in the future or not. And I will always feel as though, my relationship has been a happy marriage with ABC.
How many years?
Well, let's see, 5 years only, but with Watermark going back to the very beginning. And then ABC was bought Watermark
I see,
5 or 6 years ago.
So how many years have you been doing the American Top 40?
We're going into a 19th year, July 4th.
Is it that long?
It's hard to believe, isn't it?
Wow.
Yeah,
it is,
because it doesn't seem that long.
Did you have any idea at the time, Case, that it would work in to be such a successful thing?
I didn't think it would be quite as successful as it's been, because now we're on 1,000 stations in about 50 or 60 countries around the world.
Wow.
And that's not it. I mean, that's including Armed Forces Radio, but now we're on in places that I just never imagined. Names that I can't pronounce in South America, and and in the South Pacific and Asia. But we've been very successful, and I think the credit goes to the team. It's a team effort.
It always
really
does.
is.
It always does.
Yeah.
There's the bag man on this show. But, Casey, you've got, I'm trying to think who else. Dick Clark certainly is a very well-known voice, but on radio in particular, could there be anybody else other than beside yourself that would be even close to you in terms of exposure on the radio with your voice being as familiar? Like Muhammad Ali, they always said was the most familiar person around the world.
Yes.
Who would be in second place to you, voice-wise?
You mean around the world?
Yeah, around the world.
I mean, somebody
as
who's
far as
working
American,
in broadcasting.
in broadcast, not President Reagan or anything like that.
I don't know, unless it's some of the guys who are on Armed Forces Radio. Because I think Charlie Tuna does a show every day on Armed Forces.
Oh, does he?
Radio.
I didn't know.
Or he did at one time.
But that's not broadcast in the States, though,
no,
right? Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't think there are too many others. If there are, I don't know who they are.
Yeah. Charlie Van Dyke he sat in for you from time to time, right? He used to be a morning guy here in town.
Here?
Yeah, in CKLW, years ago. He was there. What, after you, Big Jim Edwards? Yeah, after Jim Edwards was, yeah. So
well, this town has had so many great disc jockeys, and of course, some of the greatest are still in town. including yourself. And this is a great DJ town, a great radio town, because it's always been so competitive.
That's exactly right. It remains. We're talking, was it Jim, you and I, Big Jim, earlier about, and Pat St. John, about what an incredible radio town this is. The dial in this town, as you said, Pat, in an interview that'll be on Channel 2 tonight, 6 o'clock news, is really, it's as good as anywhere in the country, if not better. And I guess the reason is the competitiveness.
Of course not.
It's just a bigger town, that's all.
That's all it is, and that's why disc jockeys who have left here and had that in mind have been successful.
Yeah.
Because they knew they were in a town that was very competitive. They knew that they were across the street from disc jockeys who were as good as any disc jockeys in the country, and that remains true. I mean, there's really no difference between the DJs here and the DJs in Los Angeles. They're you know, the fact that they're in LA gives them more opportunities for work.
That's right.
Maybe the only thing, and to get into acting and also into more voice work. But Detroit has a lot of voice work too.
This is what, the third leading advertising agency community in the country. Yeah. What, Casey? You were in a bunch of movies, haven't you?
Well, I did a bunch of them back in the, not a bunch of them. I've done maybe 12 or 15 movies. I think
that's a bunch to me.
Some of them aren't very memorable.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, the ones that nobody would remember for any reason, except there was one that I was rather proud of. I played a radio actor in the Orson Welles thriller, the night that panicked America, and that gets played every year around Halloween.
That's right, it does.
And that was the famous story about the invasion from Mars.
Right,
and I played a radio actor in that, and that was really my biggest thrill in movie making.
Is that right?
Yeah, because I started out as a radio actor, and to have been in the show, the definitive broadcast show, or the story of it, was really a big thrill. It was as much a thrill for me as when I first did the Lone Ranger show.
Is that right?
Yeah.
No kidding. And the Lone Ranger show you did emanated from what building here?
We emanated from the living room of a mansion over in Indian Village on Jefferson Avenue.
Right next to Pinky's Restaurant?
No, next to Hakems Grocery Store.
Hakems Grocery
That's
Store.
That's right,
Like Casey Hakem, you didn't have a piece of the action there, huh?
No,
And it was just like a home, right?
It was a home. In the living room, there was a...
Hey, listen to this.
There we go.
Like magic.
Fiery horse.
Yeah, the speed of whatever, huh?
Him not long.
No, Tonto.
Plenty mean Kimosabe.
Good afternoon.
Yes, Casey?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Okay, are you still going to do your America's Top 10 show after January?
Oh, yes, good question. My radio show and TV show are, rivers apart, and so I will be doing it as I'm doing it now, and it shouldn't change.
on NBC.
That's not you, is it, Case?
That isn't me, is it?
Yeah, I asked you last time you were here, and you said you didn't think that was you.
No.
Because you were the voice of NBC for a while.
Yeah, for 4 years. I did 25,000 network promos.
Did you really?
Really, 25,000.
And then
I think
Casey
I hold
quit?
the all-time record.
Casey quit, and then they went to number one, remember?
That's right. Right after I left, they went to number one.
Gary's a Buffalo guy, too,
That's
Gary
right.
Stevens.
I was fired for insubordination in Buffalo.
You were? Where? What station?
At WBNY. I lasted 90 days. And they
Is
threw
that
me
right?
out of my ear, and I went to arbitration and lost hands down.
Is that right?
I was really a bad guy.
Casey,
I
this is
read
so
what
like
the judge
you.
said, and man, I said, this cat's got to go.
Well, it's funny. I've been trying to do some research on Casey and other people for this banquet tonight since I have to speak, and finding stuff, bad stuff on you, Casey, is worse than finding out on Billy Graham.
As a high school kid, I went up to the Statler Hotel in Buffalo.
Yeah,
and sat in with him. He had the little girl without a name.
That's right. And happy.
And happy.
Yes, you did.
Oh, yeah.
My goodness, Gary, I didn't know that.
See that?
I tell you, this has come full circle.
He would work so he had a 4-hour show, and he'd kill himself for 3 hours, and he'd call the last hour the quiet hour.
My goodness, you got to... That's
that?
right. And in the last hour, I just talked to my newsman, and we talked about the news of the day, and I played soft ballads and just tried to relax.
Hey, kind of like a pillow talk type of thing, huh? Yeah. Well, you're way ahead of your time, Case.
Yeah,
Owned WKNR. And her and her husband, Fred, and then Fred died in an accident many years ago, and Nellie took over leadership at the station, and she was the boss when I got there, as well as all the other guys in the great Keener days. Right, Nellie?
Oh, my. Today has been such fun reliving all of it. It's been a long time ago now, but those were fun days, and today's been great.
Yeah, I wish I'd known you were listening. I would have...
Listen, I've been trying to get through.
Have you...
I've been sitting on your line for I don't know how long.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Nellie. The phones have been going crazy today.
It's great.
They really have. But I appreciate your calling, Nellie, and I know you're looking great because I saw you in an airplane about a year
Yes,
ago.
it wasn't too long ago. It was
That's
fun to
right.
run into you, and you look great, too. And you
thank
say
you.
hi to everybody.
I
and
sure will. Unfortunately, the Keener guys just left.
I
and we,
heard them. I was sitting
Yeah.
on the phone
And
while they were going.
just like when you were the boss, right? Sitting
Oh,
on the phone
sure.
and they wouldn't talk.
It was fun to hear all about it.
Casey, have you ever met Nellie?
Nellie, we've never met, but of course your name, yours and your husband's, legendary in this community.
That's right.
And not only
Thank you.
for,
It's nice to say hello to you, too.
well, thank you. It's a pleasure meeting you after all these years.
Nellie, are you going to be able to make it to the radio reunion tonight?
I didn't know about
Uh-huh.
it.
Well,
And no, I'm afraid I'm not going to go. But you say hi to anyone there I know, will you please?
I sure will, but if you can, it is at the Michigan Inn, and we'll look forward to seeing you if you can possibly make it. And, of course, it's on us.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, Nellie.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I was at WJW. Did you say WJW?
KYW.
Oh, KYW. No,
Yeah.
I didn't. I was a short time in Cleveland.
As long as in Buffalo?
I was a year in Cleveland.
Were you?
Yeah,
No,
I
you
did
beat Buffalo
Cleveland
by,
Bandstand on TV, and I did a rock and roll show. That's where I developed that crazy wild show that I used to do.
Is that right?
Yeah, that nobody's ever heard, except
No.
because the only people that ever heard that crazy wild show were in Cleveland, Buffalo, and in San Francisco.
Is that right?
Yeah.
This is with wild tracks, with different
Wild tracks, yeah.
voices you drop in. We do that on the show, folks, just to
Sure.
give an example. On when it's inclement weather around
Right.
here, we will play. Oh no, this is a great one. I brought. Look at that.
Well, that
Well, I got to slam the car to Look at that. Well, we lost it, Ankles. No, well, this is a wild track, folks.
right.
Something like this. Yeah, anything. That's a wild
Don't
track.
forget to wear your rubbers.
Which was what we do on inclement days. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, Case, it has been. Listen, I want to thank before we leave. I want to thank all the fine folks who were up here today. And contributed to the show. Specs Hard was in here today. Bob Green, Gary Stevens, as I mentioned earlier on. Pat St. John. Pat is still with us. Pat, thank you very much for being with us today.
Dick, you're the greatest.
Yeah, right. It was. Thank you very much, Pat. It was a ball. And your brother, Michael Stevens, also from Riff. Michael, thank you. We appreciate that. Mike's in from Houston, and Pat is in from New York, where he works at WNEW-FM. Big Jim Edwards, he did mornings at CKLW. Thank you, Jimmy.
Hey, Dick, let's do this again tomorrow, okay?
Yeah, okay.
Or how about tonight at midnight?
What a great idea. And let's see, who did I miss? Jeff Jennings is all set and ready to go on the radio next. Art Vuolo has been videotaping the entire 7 hours of this thing. Tom Ryan, not the guy I used to work with, but Tom Ryan, another one who brought up some tapes today that we have played and featured to various disc jockeys who have worked in Detroit through the years. So I think that's going to do it. I hope I've thanked everybody.
What am I?
And Ankles, my fine engineer Ankles. Bagman took off with some woman in a T-Bird somewhere, taking it. He wanted to hear fun, fun, fun. And Casey Kasem has been with us. Casey, thank you.
Dick, thank you for inviting me. This has been a real joy and a pleasure. This is special when this many people get together who have been through the airwaves here in Detroit over the past, 30 or 40 years?
Yeah, well, I guess we've talked 30 years today anyway, and, well, maybe a little more, come to think of it. That's right, yeah. And I know you haven't slept for 2 days, and Casey, it was very nice of you to come over. I know it would have been nice to sack out at the hotel for a while, but and you got a busy night tonight, too.
Well, a special salute to you for what you're doing, because you're making all this work not only for fun, but for some human care, and I think that's beautiful.
Well, this thing tonight we're doing... Oh, staff, you're so wonderful. Thank you. This thing we're doing tonight, folks, the public is not invited. It was a closed party. There'll be about 400 people there. But what it is, basically, are the folks who've worked in radio around town for 30 to 40 years, or maybe even longer, who knows, who will be in attendance at this banquet. That should be fun, and we're the entire cost of the thing, $65 a person, and all of that, except for the expense, of course, goes to Children's Hospital. So that's what Casey was talking about.
That is so great.
With the fundraiser. So that's terrific. Well, we're going to leave here with Casey, one of your long-distance dedications.
Got a letter from somebody here in the Detroit area who has a serious problem.
Oh, dear.
And but like to rectify it right now, and with a long-distance dedication, a special record by the King, and it goes this way.
It came to us in the form of a letter, Dick. It begins, Dear Casey, my girlfriend broke the set of earrings I got her for her birthday. She didn't want me to know, so she super glued them back together. Unfortunately, she didn't tell me, so when I bit her ear, we had a problem. This stuff loses its adhesiveness eventually, but in the meantime, would you please play Stuck on You? Here's the King.
Thank you, Casey.
Thank you, Dick.
And thank you, Casey. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
You can shake an apple off an apple tree. We're really
Really glad you all came. We are most especially honored that Casey Kasem joined us. And on behalf of the committee, Casey, we would like to present you with a gift. Could you come up here, please? This is going to be a complete surprise to me, too.
Well, thank you. Please say a few words, Casey. My goodness, I'm standing in the shadow of so much talent tonight. I can't believe it. All I got to say is it's a damn good thing I left Detroit. I'd have been buried. When I see all the talent on that screen, and I go back and many of the people that I saw on the screen, going back to the late 50s, but also names that were mentioned tonight that go back to the 40s, people that I grew up listening to and respected. And maybe it was because there were so many talented people in Detroit, in a cross-section of radio going from classical music to the Lone Ranger and Sergeant Preston and rock and roll and country and jazz and all of it, that I, through osmosis, absorbed some of the talent that was in the airwaves. And I certainly did, because I was fortunate enough to have grown up in Detroit and been a part of WDTR and WJVK and WJLB and WXYZ and WWJ and WJR. I mean, for one, I guess I participated in just about every radio station in town in one way or another. And this truly is an honor tonight. But more than that, it really is a salute to the people who had the vision to put this together. It's not an easy task, asking 400 people to come from every corner of the states and be here tonight at their own expense and to participate in something that truly is a miraculous thing. I don't think this has happened too often in any city of this size anywhere in the country. And for these people with a vision to have put this together and brought us together so that we could, in this beautiful day, meet old friends and reminisce about some of the great things that have happened to us in radio, that have perpetuated us in a direction that has been reaching for the stars. I'm happy to say that Detroit is my hometown, and I'm proud of it. And time again, when they ask me, how did it happened because I came from the greatest city in the world, Detroit, Michigan. Thank you all very
much. Kevin O'Neill. I want to get Kevin O'Neill up here real quick. Kevin, please, from WOMC, and Jim Oakes. And we're going to have a little quick Casey off, folks, because these two guys do the best Casey Kasems in the entire United States, and we're going to have Casey judge and decide which one is the best. So you guys come up here, folks, you and maybe with your applause in the room can help Casey with the judging real quick. And if we can do this real quick, then we'll let you all get on and chatting amongst yourselves, okay, guys? Come on. Come on. Okay, this is Jim Oakes from WCCY Z95.5. And Kevin O'Neill from WOMC.
Thank you, Art, so much, and I'm going to kill you after I do this long-distance dedication. This one comes to me in the form of a letter. And it begins, Dear Casey, I'm really out of it as far as the music industry is concerned. Could you please tell me the new #1 smasher on the land? Well, a little insider information this week. Look for it next week in your Billboard magazines. The #1 song in the land, the Miami Sound Machine, along with Gloria Estefan, with Anything for You. There's no joke. Okay, Ken. Well, the guy's not bad. But after I left Detroit, the story continues in Cleveland, Ohio. I did in Cleveland in 2 years what most people in Cleveland want to do for an entire lifetime: leave town. And after Cleveland, it was to the stations west of the Mississippi. Stations like Corn, Crinkle, and Kaka. And then it was on to the coast, where I began 1840 and 1970. Introducing all America to great hit records like Wilson Pickett's version of Sugar Sugar. And who can forget the memorable performances of the songs that only peaked at number 30 or 35? Songs like I'll Hit You with My Best Shot by Sean Penn. Looking Through Your Back Door by Jimmy Swaggart. And the foreign language version of the Cher classic, Bang Bang, I Shot My Baby Down by Claudine Lauget. It's okay, guys, you can laugh. Andy's left town. Well, I want to thank you for your support of AT40 over the years, especially during the final 10 countdown every week, when each song is separated by at least 7.5 minutes of commercials. And I want to invite you all back again someday. Hopefully we'll meet someplace, sometime, maybe standing in line to register at Wayne State. But whatever it is, remember this. Keep your feet on the ground, keep reaching for the stars, but don't let the stars tell you when to hold your next summit meeting.
Well, I didn't know we were going to get a monologue. Casey, come up here if you would. And this is your, you have to judge. You have to make your decision here. The truth is, Casey, don't be too burdened by this. This won't be brain surgery because nobody really gives a rat's tail. So no, whatever you say, Case, whatever you say.
I want you to know, Casey.
No, wait, I know how to do it. I know how to do it.
Before you make a judgment, though, Casey.
Wait a minute.
Whatever you say, that is, say you, as far as the best, Casey. Say me.
Say me. Wait a minute, here you have a guy who does me every day, makes a living at it. You can't deny him, number one. And here you have a guy who makes jokes of it and is really very funny. Both of them are so good. And I'm not going to even let you vote, because if I let you vote, it'll still come out a tie. So let's just call it a tie. I think they're both great.
Okay, I think that is going to do it for this evening's presentation. I hope we've covered all the names. The Laredos will be our band. They will play, and they're a great band, as any of you that were at Barney Ailis's bar mitzvah last week can attest to. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would thank you very much for coming tonight on behalf of the entire gang, whether on the record side or on the radio side. It was a wonderful evening. If we would all, in conclusion, raise our glasses. You could do that to Detroit Radio and Records. How many of you have never had a drug test before? Well, our friend Casey Kasem is with us. Casey is over there. Stand up, Casey. Casey's the inspiration for, well, hundreds and hundreds of jocks in this room and other places who went to Wayne State and could have actually gone to Specs Howard and saved a fortune and learned more. But Casey just signed a new deal with Chancellor AM/FM, and in fact, since he arrived in town this afternoon, he bought this hotel. So congratulations to you, Case. As of tomorrow, it's the Ritz Kasem Hotel. Seeing Casey standing here, though, if you notice, it's just graphic proof that if you live in California in that warm sunshine all year, you just retain that black hair. It's unbelievable. A lot of guys are jealous, Casey. And by the way, Casey's birthday is tomorrow, so happy birthday to Case. Happy birthday. By the way, speaking of age, I know that a lot of guys here have been in radio for years. we have the legendary Casey Kasem with us this evening. And if you don't mind, we need your help in this one here. Turns out we have several Casey Kasem impersonators in the audience tonight. And I would ask them to please stand up. This could be a little contest here to see who does the best job. Casey and our impersonators here are going to go behind the door. They're going to speak into a microphone, and it's up to you guys to decide which is the real Casey. Okay?
The first one is number 1.
Thank you. Again, first one is number 1. Keep that in mind.
Hello once again. I'm Flashy Flasham from Hollywood. From the beautiful studios here in Sherman Oaks on Sepulveda. Casey, that said Sepulveda. Oh, what do I know? I'm from Detroit. And now, we got a letter. Let's check the letter. It's a question from Gus in San Gabriel, California. He says, Flashy, what was the Beatles' biggest record? Okay, Gus, I checked and I got your answer. They're all the same size.
That's fine. That's enough. That's enough, okay? I think we might be able to eliminate number 1 since he called himself by his own name, okay? So that took the guessing game out of it, okay? So let's go to our next Casey.
Want to go with 2?
Number 2. Number 1 sounded like number 2, to tell you the truth, but anyway. Hey, I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. Nellie, I'm sorry.
Are you through, Des?
I'm sorry. Yes, I am, Casey.
Well, this is Casey Kasem, reminding you all to keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars. Now back to the countdown.
Okay. Very good.
3.
Number 3. Really number 2, but number 3.
This is Casey Kasem. Keep your feet in the ground and keep reaching for the stars.
All right. 4.
And this is the real Casey Kasem. I graduated from Wayne State, commonly known as the Harvard of the Lodge Freeway. Then I got into radio and aspired to do what everybody in Detroit radio wanted to do at that time, to someday become one of 17 Jack the Bellboys. But now I'm counting them down every Sunday, like tomorrow morning on 100.3 WNIC, Clear Channel Radio Detroit. Keep your feet on the ground, keep reaching for the stars, and if any of those stations you have on are Jack, George, Jim, or Gene, reach for the off switch.
We've got a vote now. Let's hear it for number 1. It's a sympathy clap. Nice going, Flash. Okay, number 2. Okay, number 3. And number 4. Number 3 has it. Number 3. Let's find out who number 3 is. How about that, huh, ladies and gentlemen? Kevin O'Neill. With your shameless plug for your show. Now, number 3 was right. You were right. Casey Kasem was number 3. Congratulations.
I'm Flashy Flasham here with
Casey Kasem.
Casey Kasem and Flashy Flasham together. My gosh, do you want to do a dedication?
No, what I want to do is say I have a long-distance dedication.
And who is that to, Casey?
It's to Art, who is the Mr. Radio of all the world. He's so dedicated, and thanks to him, I can be with my friends that I have been with tonight, that I haven't seen in years. Thanks to him, I'll carry these memories with me till the day I die. Thank you, Art.
And it is the infamous Casey Kasem. I'm Flashy Flasham. You want to do your last tagline?
Keep your feet in the ground and keep reaching for the stars.
I want to do a dedication too. Bye-bye, Casey Kasem.